Good afternoon, everyone. And once again, I must apologize for being late getting started. We've had some technical difficulties with our sound system. So I'll start again from the top. Present in our council chambers this morning is Councillor Chris Brandt, Councillor Curtis Brandt, Councillor Aaron Ferranti, and Councillor Chris Miracle. And Councillor Linda Lewin has had an appointment, and she'll be returning later. She was here for part of the meeting this morning. We have staff. Kelly Miracle is acting in Angela Miracle's CAO role while she's on vacation. We have the recording secretary, executive assistant to Shelley Bowden here present, and we have my assistant, Charles Miracle, present. Councillor Oguari sent an email this morning to say he had work-related responsibilities, was unable to attend. The council has been moved by Aaron Ferranti and seconded by Linda Lewin to adopt the agenda for January the 28th, 2025. There was a motion to go in private to discuss some legal matters with our lawyer this morning, and also to hear a presentation from the Hastings County School Board. I'll just go over the items that are on the agenda for the 28th today. Are the Women's Day food purchase duties of councillors, the committee Mohawk school generator issue, schedule a Mohawk Golf Board meeting, schedule a Yawade Board meeting, new approaches for housing submissions, new government and potential impacts, Bay of Quinte remedial action plan, the Ministry of Natural Resources request, the hydro extension, hydro pole has to be replaced at 668-49 highway, the temporary hydro connection for the North Street subdivision. There's harvesting requests from J. Cadu, S. Wine Garden. Number 18 was moved to private agenda. There's an item on concerning Iroquois Caucus. The AI governance funding needs to be signed. Bells Road access, there's a request to open a right-of-way. The Ministry of Health, MOU, Child, Youth, Mental Health funding. The before and after school manual program needs to be approved by council. There's some financial invoices to be paid from Derek Wong, Economic Development Consultant, and Miller Thompson for HR issues, and JFK Law invoices for a variety of issues. And the scheduled meetings for January, the next upcoming meetings are January 29th will be the local business. February the 5th will be the council's regular business. February the 11th will be the local business. February the 18th will be the regular council meeting, and February 26th will be local business. That's what's on the agenda, and we are now at the minutes of January the 9th. Are there any errors, omissions, or corrections? So on the meeting of January the 9th, it was held in the council chambers at 1 p.m. I was present. Councillor Oguari was present. Councillor Chris Brandt was present. Councillor Curtis Brandt present. Councillor Aaron Ferranti present. Councillor Linda Lewin present. Councillor Chris Miracle present. Staff attending were Angela Miracle, the acting CAO, Shelley Bowden, executive administrative assistant and recording secretary of the council. Charles Miracle, my assistant, was also present. Motion 1 was moved by Oguari and seconded by Aaron to adopt the agenda. The motion was carried. Councillor Chris Miracle wants it noted that the motion to establish the MBQ Rental Selection Committee from the minutes of November 25th, 24, that he disagrees with having a non-native person on the committee, as a non-native person should not be making decisions on what Mohawk people gets, whether Mohawk gets an MBQ rental unit. Motion 2 was moved by Chris Brandt, seconded by Curtis Brandt, that the council minutes of December 18th be approved. The motion was carried. Motion 3 was moved by Chris Miracle and seconded by Curtis to approve meetings outside of the territory. Chief and Linda will be attending the AI transformation on February the 4th and 5th, 2025 in Brantford. Chief Linda Curtis will be attending the AI meeting on February the 19th and 20th, 25. The motion was carried. Motion 4 was moved by Curtis and seconded by Aaron to approve the MBQ Town of Deseronto and Town of Deseronto communication protocol for water lines. The motion was carried. Motion 5 was moved by Oguari and seconded by Curtis to defer the business registration for Little Owl for staff to inquire with a legal counsel if the businesses should be providing insurance coverage to get businesses registered with MBQ. The motion was carried. Motion 6 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Linda Lewin to defer the business registration for Randy's Leather staff to inquire with legal counsel if businesses should be providing insurance coverage to get businesses registered. It was moved by Curtis. Motion 7 was moved by Curtis Brandt and seconded by Chris Brandt and seconded by Curtis Brandt to approve the business registration renewal for Best Price Fencing, Landscaping and Construction owner Terry Farrell. The motion was carried. Motion 8 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Linda to defer the business registration for Sundance Trading for staff to inquire with legal counsel if the businesses should be providing insurance coverage to get the business registered with MBQ. The motion was carried. Motion 9 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Chris Miracle to defer the business registration for Susie Lynn's Boutique for staff to inquire with legal counsel if businesses should be providing insurance coverage to get the business registered with MBQ. That motion was carried. Motion 10 was moved by Curtis Brandt, seconded by Linda Lewin, to defer the business registration renewal for Whispering Willows for staff to inquire with legal counsel if businesses should be providing insurance coverage to get the business registered with MBQ. The motion was carried. Motion 11 was moved by Aaron Ferranti and seconded by Oguari to approve to pay Hicks Morley invoices for $280 for May 2024, May 24, and then 280 for 2024, 880 for November 2024, $64 for November 2024, $448 for November 24, and $384 for November 24th regarding human resources issues. Motion was carried. Motion 12 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Curtis to approve to pay the Allen Pratt invoice in the amount of $1,482 regarding the Turton Pen loss of use claim. That motion was carried. Motion 13, moved by Linda Lewin, seconded by Chase Oguari Brandt to approve scheduling the February 5th Tyendinaga Mohawk Council meeting to February the 11th, 2025. The motion was carried. Motion 14 was moved by Oguari and seconded by Curtis to approve rescheduling the February 19th, 2025 Tyendinaga Mohawk Council meeting to February the 18th, 2025. The motion was carried. Motion 15 was moved by Chris Brandt, seconded by Aaron to approve scheduling a meeting with Four Pillar Society regarding a presentation on funding they can provide. The motion was carried and that meeting occurred today. Motion 16 was moved by Councillor Linda William and seconded by Aaron Ferranti to approve signing the letter to the Ontario Native Women's Administrators Association agreeing that they visit our community to conduct research. That motion was carried. Motion 17 was moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by Curtis to approve sharing the Lake Ontario Management Unit collaboration of the Bay of Quinte presentation with Chief Daibo of Ganawagi. The motion was carried. Motion 18 was moved by Chris Miracle and seconded by Chris Brandt to request the Ontario Provincial Police purchase speed cameras for the territory. The motion was carried. Motion 19 was moved by Chris Miracle and seconded by Curtis Brandt to approve appointing Diana Brandt Winkler, Business Development Worker to Hastings County Tourism Board. The motion was carried. Motion 20 was moved by Chris Miracle and seconded by Chris Brandt that all requests for land transfers are to be submitted to the Tyendinaga agenda for approval. Also, Indigenous Services Canada to notify MBQ when they process all the land transfers. The motion was carried. Motion 21 was moved by Chris Miracle and seconded by Chris Brandt to staff to provide all agreements for MB corporations. The motion was carried. The council confirmed the following schedule of meetings. January the 13th is local business. January the 14th to the 17th is OAP and PA. January the 15th to the 17th is Iroquois Caucus. January the 21st to 22nd is AI Housing Symposium. January the 28th is the regular council meeting. January the 29th is the local council meeting. February the 11th is the regular council meeting. February the 12th is the local business meeting. February the 18th is the regular council meeting. February 26th is the local business meeting. Motion 22 was moved by Councillor Linda Lewin, seconded by Councillor Aaron Ferranti, that this meeting go in private at 2:52 p.m. and the motion was carried. These are the minutes as recorded by the Executive Administrative Assistant and Recording Secretary to Council, Shelley Bowden. Are there any errors, omissions, or corrections on these minutes? If not, can I have the motion to accept the minutes as provided?
Are you going to move on to action items or
No,
part of this?
we have to approve it, then we will deal with it, do it that after. The minutes have to be approved first. So we're correcting the minutes. If there's any changes to the minutes at this stage.
I'll motion.
Okay, Chris Brandt. Is there a seconder to accept the minutes as provided?
I'll second it too.
Curtis? Now, are there any questions concerning the minutes?
I have some, Chief.
Go ahead.
I initially suggested getting a lawyer regarding the insurance issues, but then I retracted that statement and said, wait a sec. We probably get the same information from our insurance company for free. So hopefully we haven't engaged a lawyer yet, if we can get this for free.
Shu Miracle is talking to the insurance company about it. I sent around an email. There was a response from Lisa this morning, and I sent that to council early this morning.
So then the lawyers are not engaged.
Not at this point.
Thank you.
So they're talking with the insurance company.
Motion 21. Corporate documents. For the record, Chief, I'm over 3 years into my mandate. I still haven't seen any documents.
Would I?
3 years. 3 years.
There should be a copy of all the corporate documents. Shelby Grant turned them all over to finance. They should be there. It's a matter of looking them up and getting them copied.
Yeah, I think it's done. She just didn't have a chance to get it the day before her. She is not here, but she will be doing it.
Okay, that sets up these corporations, and the purpose of the way they're set up is to avoid the payment of taxes and how the revenues will be distributed to the band when they come in. That's really what it does. And so far, there's a bank account at the Bank of Montreal where the wind power money goes in. I think it's $50,000 a year, and then there's our share of the solar project with the Blue Earth project. And then there's the Mohawk Golf Course, and of course Derek Wong and Gene Leonard set up those corporations. And Derek has already made a presentation to the council on it. But if they want to see the corporate documents, the council's entitled to see them, but they have to approve to do that. So just ask Gene Leonard for a copy of the corporate documents if they're not already here.
Yep, they are.
My understanding is that they're all here.
Yes.
But normally the lawyers make a presentation to council what's involved, with it before council makes a motion to go ahead and instruct the lawyer to set up these agreements. And they're to do the filings to set up the corporations with Revenue Canada, and who the directors are and what the purpose is. Is it for profit, not for profit, that kind of thing. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the minutes?
One last item, when I had it noted about the concerns from community myself about the makeup, it's that I had full-blooded Mohawks come to me and say, look, I applied formally and not even a response. So they're saying, why are full-blooded Mohawks being overlooked, lived all their lives, and they're not even considered for that? At some point, it's going to be part of our future, but I think at this point, the community should have more input and more knowledge of these things.
Okay, so then put it on the council, or the motion to set up that housing committee selection process. If it needs a review for council, it needs to go on the agenda.
It's been on the agenda, Chief. I'm just
I know you're
getting my position.
Yeah, but you wanted to note it in the minutes about if we did that. And so I just want to know, does the council want to review that decision? If you do, it needs to go on the agenda.
Thank you, Chief.
And I hear from Councillor Chris that it should go back on the agenda for review.
I think also if
you.
people applied and so they didn't get a response, if you could provide those names, and then we could follow that up, because my understanding is that everyone that applied was on the committee. So was on the committee. We only got about the amount of applicants. I don't know if anyone was overturned, so I can double check that. But if you have people that said that they didn't get a response,
I have a copy of their letter.
yeah, if you could just give me the name, I can pass that along.
Is the council in favor of placing it on the next council agenda for review?
No,
No?
no, it's already formed and going, and they're working now currently, and it's within MBQ's policies to have people that are community members participating on, what do you call it, what's of council?
Community members or community
Committees of council.
residents?
What's
Because a
the
member
difference?
is somebody who's registered on the band.
What's the difference, Chief, between a community member and a band member? A
Well-
community member, anybody can be a member.
Well,
because you're living
right
here.
now, this community member has been quite carelessly referred to me, a community member is a member who is registered on the ban list.
That's my understanding.
That they belong to the Mohawks, the Bay of Quinte community.
Correct.
And then there are community residents who are not community members.
And both are
Correct.
allowed to be on
So,
committees of council.
well, who said?
The
Chief and I
policy.
are saying, we believe community members are band members. And then do people have a conflict of interest if they're supporting
I've raised
non-members
that
being
issue
on
with
these positions?
Then
raised
maybe the wording should be changed, Chris,
Well, you'd have
to
to make a policy
band
change.
members, but status members then. If you want to get so, if we want the wording correctly and you want only status on there, then we have to go with status rather than somebody that's living in our community. Are we gonna, yeah, I mean, you say that there's somebody that has come forward and said that they weren't
Okay.
put on, well, let's
So we
find
have
out
clear-
who that is.
So are
Give
you,
us the
are
name.
you in favor of non-community members deciding?
Non-
where
As
Mohawks
if they're
live?
not
Non-band
prejudiced.
Are you
Are
in
you
favor?
prejudiced against them
No.
being here?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well,
I'm
then-
saying
then
it.
you're not
I'm asking you,
prejudiced.
I'm asking you a question. Are you in favor of non-community members deciding which Mohawks live in this community?
It's a group
I'm asking
decision.
Chris,
It's not
please.
just
I'm
a
asking
okay,
Chris.
I will
person.
answer your question. If they're thinking in the best interest of our people, absolutely. Because
Absolutely what?
that it means that just because well, they're I see it as you being prejudiced against them having a vote, having them say here they've been here for 50 years. They make them no less than somebody that's been born 20 years ago, just because the status.
Because really, all of the legislation does through the matrimonial real property, it doesn't give them rights. It gives them the right of residency to live with in the matrimonial real home. It doesn't extend beyond that.
Yeah, okay, that's right. But
It
if
doesn't
they've
give them
been, if
taxation
they've been
rights or the-
living here for, in our elders, let's say our elders, and they've been, yeah, they're not 100% Mohawk, but they've gained a status card a long time ago, like my mom and dad's age, or that sit on, or that's lived here in the community and knows how the community is and what it's about, and acts in the best interest of the community. I see no different.
What if that situation you described is totally irrelevant to what we're talking about? What if
Okay,
a person's only
anyway.
lived here for a year or two?
Okay.
And
this is a
Still, are you
sensitive
still
to-
saying
just a
that
minute, just a minute.
a band member should not have that seat and a non-member should?
Then,
You're
so
saying
like
that?
I said, then you.
No, I'm
then-
asking you what you think.
Then it should be rewritten then.
Okay.
Then the policy has to be rewritten rather than a
And
community member.
I didn't ask for a debate today on this topic. I asked, do you want it put on the council for review?
Yes.
Next to the council, and it should be discussed in private because it is a sensitive issue.
Did you say you're looking at it? You're gonna look at it?
Can look into, I never said I was going to buy.
So
I-
Sorry, I thought you did.
Okay,
Oh, no, if you
bring,
want me to do something, though, if there's direction, I can do
bring
that.
the committee policy to council so we can review it along
Yeah,
with the
the letter.
motion appointing
Yeah,
the
I
members
asked him for
on the
that.
housing selection committee. Just put that on as an item on the next agenda. Is there everybody on council in favor of that? To put it on for review?
Yes.
Yes,
To
Curtis?
redo the policy?
Just to review it. It did not make the decision to change it, but just to look at it. And so that will go on we'll need a motion to put it on the next council for
All
review.
motion.
Chris and Curtis, motion is carried.
Sorry, Curtis, I did say that I would take the complaint Chris Miracle said he had, Council Miracle said he had,
Yeah.
and look into the complaint.
Okay.
So if you want to pass that on to me, I can do that. Yep, thank you. Sorry, Curtis. I forgot that.
So are there any other concerns with the minutes or questions or issues with the minutes of January the 9th? Apart from the Housing Selection Committee? None, say just that one then, Shelley? And we made a motion to put that item on the next council agenda. Meetings outside of the territory. So the Chiefs of Ontario Health Forum is February the 25th and 27th, and the Chiefs of Ontario February 26th meeting in Toronto. I think I already have a motion for this, do I, Shelley, or not? Okay, so is there a mover that I attend these meetings?
I'll move to you.
Curtis? Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Chris Brandt, is anybody opposed?
What are they conflicting with?
Well, one's the health forum, we get a lot of information from health, the health and the Chiefs of
I don't know,
Ontario.
what are they conflicting with?
There's
Or
nothing in our
local,
agenda.
local business.
Local.
Oh, local business?
That's right.
Which night is that?
It's
26.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I can't, usually those Chiefs meetings are over with shortly after lunch, so maybe we'll be back in time.
You're in Toronto from the 25th to the 22nd.
So
Oh,
are you, you're not doing both meetings, right?
I should.
Well, then you have to skip over one of these.
Well, one of you could chair the local business, because we don't really even know if we'll have anybody on the agenda.
Let's just leave it that you attend for now. And, yeah, 26 is
Okay.
a long time away, so.
So we'll know by the next meeting if somebody's scheduled, right, Shelley? So we'll just flag that for the next council to review, because, but I can't change those meeting dates.
So has anybody, so we don't know if anybody is scheduled for local on 20? Okay.
So we don't know if anybody will be.
Okay, well, let's just, let's send you.
We'll
to
review
Toronto.
it next council meeting. So it's been moved and seconded that I attend these meetings. Is anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried.
Yeah.
Well, that's already approved. There's already a motion, and then we've already identified who's going to go. So far, all of council's going to the meeting, with the lawyers and the department on land issues on February the 7th, all but Chris Brandt, he's working. And then Angela will be going as well. So that's already been communicated to Jordan Sewell, so he's made arrangements with them, so they know how big of a meeting room to have.
Can I'm going to, I'll tell my boss that, this is more important, and I will go to the meeting too, I guess. it's
Okay,
not
then
too
Charlie, do you want to send a note then to Jordan or Shelley to let him know that the full council now will be attending?
I'm just gonna say.
Just add Chris Brandt to the list. Okay, so Councillor Linda Levine, the next issue, number 4, she's put on the agenda that the request to pay the attached food invoice for Women's Day event.
Chief,
Shelley has a question.
Shelley can attest to that. Apparently we just looked after.
So I had talked to Susan when she's here, and they're gonna find funding to cover that. So we can just pull that one from the agenda.
Okay, just note that it's been pulled then.
Yeah, the money will be down.
Is that number, which one are you pulling, chief?
Number 4.
Has that been held already, or? No? Okay. Who's in charge of that?
Sheila Stacy organizes it. It's usually done through Red Cedars.
Within the organization, you mean within MBQ or another organization? Okay.
So why is the counselor tabling it, chief?
We're
She's
not.
the portfolio holder.
She put it on there, but I guess what's happened since it was put on the agenda, Susan said she can cover it through one of her programs.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need the council approval.
So what it was, so what it was for was food and stuff like that. That's what she was
So
looking
just
for.
note that it's been pulled from the agenda.
What Sheila was looking for, yeah. So
That
Linda's helping
funds
her
have been
with
covered
this.
currently.
This is a big event.
Okay, that's good. So strike number 4, and just note it's pulled from agenda. Funds available through CWC. The duties of a counselor, we don't have anything in writing here. Is there a policy on this?
She
Big-
wanted deferred to it.
Yeah.
Because really all I expect to do is the council to work productively with your portfolio, meet with them, discuss issues. maybe come up with solutions or recommendations that should come to council. But you're not an independent decision maker. When you're meeting there, you're not the council. You are to bring recommendations to the council. And that's pretty much what it is. Some of them will have a lot more issues than others in the portfolios. Others, it's pretty much legislated or they're driven by council policy on how it operates. And so you have to work within those constraints. And so that's pretty much it is. And if you have a question, go to the CEO or the director of the portfolio, and quite often they can answer whatever issues you have. If you have a recommendation, discuss it with the portfolio holder so we have a full, robust briefing note to come to council, and then we're not working at odds or at loose ends. That's pretty much it. So, and to know what's going on in your portfolio. You're supposed to be the resident expert for your portfolio. And in the past, some of the council, the staff have said they have never ever seen their portfolio holder.
I don't think that's why this was placed on the agenda, but Linda placed it on and would like it deferred to when she's back.
Okay, so motion to defer it.
I'll motion.
I'll second that, Chief.
Then collectively, we are responsible as a council to make sure that all of our contractual and legal obligations are fulfilled within the terms and conditions of our funding agreements or with other related parties.
Chief, for the sake of clarity, if it's a counselor puts it on the agenda, it should be the counselor, not TMC. I'm not aware of a motion, but I'm still part of council.
I did put it on
Not a
council.
motion.
Pardon me?
It's not a motion, it's an agenda item.
But it says put on it by TMC. Did TMC put it on here? I'm not aware of TMC passing a motion.
I don't recall it, but
Thank
does
you.
anybody, can somebody else shed light on this?
They did ask me to put it on. I put TNT on. My apologies.
So
It's Linda Levine,
Linda Lewin?
and I'll shoot it right now.
Okay, thank you, Shelley. So it's been put on there by Linda Lewin. So and then we did a motion to defer it because she's not here.
I'll motion to defer.
Aaron? Who will second it?
Didn't you guys already do that? I don't. I think
Councilor
Aaron-
Linda Lewin put it on the agenda.
Yeah, Aaron and
She's not
Chris.
here.
Aaron and Chris already did
Aaron and
it.
Chris, yeah, I seconded it to defer.
It was moved by Aaron to defer it.
Mm-hmm.
And Curtis seconded it, is what I have here.
Chris,
Chris?
yeah.
Okay, motion's carried. The Quinte Mohawk School generator, there's 37,000 square feet of floor space in the school, and the electrical system is quite complicated. And so to make sure that a generator, it has to be designed to accommodate the school layout and systems that are there. And so Todd, I spoke to Todd yesterday about it, and he prepared a briefing note, which I circulated to the council this morning. Do you have the briefing note? So what will happen is I spoke with Travis Anderson, who's the superintendent for federal schools, yesterday, and he's going to be bringing it up with there's a KLM report, a technical assessment report on the school, which we lobbied for this past summer. They did agree to fund the technical report, so there's a KLM report looking at the whole school there, what needs to be done in terms of capital and the generator issues in there. The department is still reviewing that report, but I did stress the need of getting a decision made. So he's going to be, Travis Anderson is going to be having a chat with Michael O'Byrne to see if they can fund the electrical engineer to come there and tell us what it is that we need to. It has to be designed for the school. It's not something that's going to purchase off of a shelf and put there.
Michael also suggested that he was going to have Nico in on that meeting.
Yeah,
with him.
so Nico and Kyle and
'Cause-
Kyle and Nico are going to be talking to Michael O'Byrne about it this morning at their management meeting.
Yep.
So it's being worked on, and there's no quarrel that it can be funded. But I would think we also need to look at our other buildings. I know our building has a generator. The police station needs a generator. Is there a generator at the wellness building or the medical building or the fire hall?
There's a list, chief, that was part of the TMC.
So
agenda
we need to
package.
put it on the agenda, which ones have next agenda, which ones
it's
have.
already
It's in there already, chief. There's a list already. It's already in your package.
Oh, it's in the
Yeah,
package?
yeah.
Engineering. Yeah, definitely.
I read this yesterday. How come I didn't come across that?
Anything, there's the-
Oh, here it is here. Van operated buildings. Oh, there's a list here. So my mistake. There's a list of buildings that do not have a generator. So there's the fitness center, the supportive housing office, the water truck garage, the CWC building existing, the police building, funding application was submitted, library, daycare, Ohaze, seniors activity center, the youth center, the BPM garage, justice building, former Christchurch, 386 Airport Road, the bus barn, the waste transfer station, and 92 Depot Road. Van property currently transiting to 368 Airport Road. Commercial buildings, Kajidamikam, the kitchen design, the medical center, 1447 Ridge Road. I guess that's the water treatment plant, is it? I'm sure that
Yeah.
that has a generator.
It does.
Yeah.
That has a
I'm
generator.
not sure what.
The ICCPT medical office, former radio station, Susan looking temporary housing to use this space for food bank. Once IICPT leaves, the LFDC building, TTO school will be something else once the new school is built. So these are the buildings that we don't have, and there was a capital call request under emergency management some time ago, and nothing was identified. So we need to have a chat with Marco Giancarlo, who is emergency management at Indigenous Services Canada, to see if we can get funding under emergency management for generators. But we do have a portable generator that could be brought to the community center and elsewhere. And I think I don't know where it's housed now, but we did buy one some time ago.
I think, in all fairness, I don't think every single band building needs a generator or a backup generator. Let's say, just example, the library. We lose power, shut the library down. Nobody needs to be in the library. Medical, absolutely, they need generators. We need generators. The school, yes, the school needs a generator. Backup systems, things that a youth center canteen, it doesn't need a backup generator if the power goes down. Those are things that can be just closed down until the power comes back on, then we reopen. So I think this is the list.
So anyway,
The list we should look into this list a little more carefully and really decide what 100% needs generator, especially in the winter time when the power goes out for any amount of time. The school could be a warming facility for the community to go to. The kitchen there is fully equipped. The community center, the same thing. They got the kitchen to cook food, to make a warming station for people. So things like that.
well, that was why we bought a portable generator, so that it could be taken to whichever, because maybe one building would have electricity, another wouldn't, but that will serve, it's built to keep the community center operational, the 2 floors, and the school would be a good option, but I would see that it would be the police station, the fire hall, we have one here, CWC, and the medical building.
Fire hall has one.
And the
too.
fire hall,
Has one. It already has one.
the fire hall has one.
So does
So
the
there-
community center, I think, doesn't
Yep.
it?
Community does too. Center.
We have that portable one
Council house
set
does.
up there.
Is that the
The
one
water
that the police
station.
station are using now?
The one, sorry, that
Portable one?
Is it the portable one?
I don't know.
Well, there's one sitting in front.
Tom should know the whereabouts of that, because
Yeah, well, I think
it's spent properly.
honestly, if I remember, I'm sure we bought it like 20 years ago, so I don't even know what those.
But
is.
it was stored at the airport. I don't think it's
It used
hardly
to be
ever
at the
been
drill
used.
hall like 1,000 years ago. That's what,
It's hardly ever been used.
I don't think so.
Well, it's like, just because it's old, it doesn't mean that it's not gonna work.
No, no, no.
It's not worn out though, I can tell you that, because of you overuse. It's not been used very
That's the
often.
main thing.
And again, the council should know who uses it, whose job is it to deploy that, and whose job is it to operate it.
Okay, we can find that out.
So the one for the CWB.
That should be under our emergency
they're
management
In
policy.
the process of doing that when this building's finished, right? Is what I was told.
Yeah,
So-
I think it talks about like the existing
Yeah.
building.
Okay.
Okay. Just a minute, that didn't burn up, did it, the time that the fiber optic was set on fire?
No,
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think so. I'm just
it
saying, I
didn't.
just
That should have been
remember.
outside.
it was,
Yeah,
Okay, just make a note then that this issue should have been reported on and worked on. I've already outlined what the next issue about the generators for the school. Is there consensus then to, I guess, raise this issue with the buildings that I just identified in our discussions on March the 2nd, to raise those issues with the department? It would be the police station. Well, they don't fund the police station for one, but the wellness building, the medical building, the school.
Shelley?
Shelley?
Tommy sent an email earlier. We got notification that the application for the generator at CPF was approved.
Okay, good. So one will be coming there for TPS, the police station. So then there'll be the wellness building, the medical center, and the school. And probably the business center in Shannonville. I'm not sure if there's a generator there. I don't think there is.
You know,
yeah, I don't think there is.
The thing is, are they all under the same electrical grid, or box? They have to be all under the same panel, because any kind of generator is actually wired straight into a panel box. And then from there, then you're picking the different, the furnace, the water, and maybe one light and one plug.
No, it doesn't have a generator. So does the fitness center stay open during business operations, or does it close down?
the business center.
The fitness center.
It's rented out to individual tenants except for TFRC.
But it isn't the school there, the Ohahase school?
No, the
No.
school's over at Ohahase now, the former Orange Lodge.
So there's no more education.
Isn't that all in there, in the two now?
IPCT will have 2 units,
Yes.
and then
They come
one,
over.
and then TFRC has 2
Oh, I
units,
see.
and they sublease to the chiropractor.
All right, okay. Chris, did you have your hand up?
No, go ahead.
So then can we have a motion then to note that the generators will be worked on, and in those other buildings, I'll place it on the agenda for the March 2nd meeting?
With Trump?
Yeah, is there a motion to do that? Curtis?
I'll second that.
So we'll need briefing notes on those other buildings. Wellness building, the medical building, and the school.
You
And
need a
what about,
briefing note for the school, you said that
what
was
about
being-
ALFDC? I mean, that's employment and training and continuing income. They should ask HRSDC if they could get funding for a generator. Because there's employment and training programs, so it's for continuity of business operations. Because we've had one time, the other thing that happened a few years ago, the power was off along the York Road in Shannonville, west of there, in parts of the the middle slash road, and it was off for several days.
Wiring it into the back.
I think it was in March or something like that, that happened.
I guess it's whether we are responsible for that as the landlord, or if it's the tenant responsibility to have that.
Well, anyway, we need to review it, have this, the staff review this generator issue, and give me a briefing note before March the 2nd, and to the council.
Okay.
But what do you want on it?
So
I'm
I
a
guess
little
we'll just,
confused,
we'll,
Because they
we'll,
already told us-
we will review which MBQ buildings need a generator for continuity of operations for essential services. That work?
Sure.
We need it before March 2nd. And we'll put it on our next lobby session on March the 2nd with Indigenous Services Canada. And I'll have a conversation with Mark Giancarlo to see if there's any capital money left under emergency management, that some of this could be funded. But again, maybe a Generac might work on some of these buildings, but again, that's a technical issue that I don't know much about. It all depends on the electrical system. There's a lot of technical issues that would come to play with the size of the building.
Yeah, some of the bigger buildings are 220 service rather than 110, like a house.
Yeah.
So a regular generator might not work.
So that's been moved by Curtis and seconded by Chris. Brandt, is there anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion's carried. The Mohawk Golf Board. When are you available for a meeting for the Mohawk Golf Board and the Yowade Corporation? There are some issues that you need to decide.
Chief,
Go ahead.
are you having two separate meetings or
Well,
back to back?
Back to back, I think will work.
May I request the evening? I work during the day.
Sure. What time?
What's best for the folks in the evening?
How about 5 o'clock supper meeting for both?
When?
Well, tell me when you're available. I'm available.
When, this Friday?
No, not this Friday. Not Friday, please. I could meet on the 30th. It's Thursday.
Not this week.
I could meet on. Is there anybody for local business tomorrow night?
No?
Do you want to meet at 5 o'clock tomorrow? Can we get an agenda ready that quickly enough? All right then, so so I'm available tomorrow night and I'm available.
What, yeah,
Well, let's go on the
meeting that, but when was it?
I'm sure that they will. They're the ones who want this break really fast, so.
So they've been pressing for me. They must know what they want to talk about. I'll give them a call.
Chief, if you're having back-to-back meetings, I will not be participating on board stuff without reviewing the documents beforehand. I'm not making well-informed decisions without seeing documents.
Okay, that's fine. We'll see if they can get it ready.
In advance.
Jeff, you've been pressing for a meeting, whether you and Augusta for a meeting with the golf board. Would you and Augusta be able to have a meeting tomorrow night? At 5 o'clock, a supper meeting, and have the agenda and the reading material before to the council the first thing in the morning?
We should be able to do that, yeah.
Okay then, so can you make sure what time should they look for it?
Well, it'd be this evening, that we, would likely get, well, it could be morning before it gets out, for the agenda. But, you said 5 o'clock tomorrow, right?
Yeah, here in the council chambers, we'll have the meeting.
Yeah.
And make sure that they get it, so the first thing in the morning, we'll have it out, let's say before 10.
Yes.
All right then, so to go ahead and prepare an agenda for the items that you need discussion and decision, and also the agenda material. And so is council then willing to meet tomorrow night at 5 o'clock here?
Yes.
On the golf board.
For the golf board, but I don't know what the audio, I gotta follow up on
Okay,
that.
yeah, I'm not meeting on the other corporations until I've had a chance to digest all these documents.
Well,
and
really,
I need
all there really should be is an audit.
all the loans, all the documentation, all the agreements we've negotiated with other people on our behalf. I want to see the things that I'm party to as a director long before I keep meeting on approving stuff that have no background.
So what do you want to do, terminate the agreements and terminate the funding, or what's the goal?
The goal is to have a chance to read the agreements that have been out there for years.
Okay. But the lawyers, Chris, have really presented this material to several, I'll
I won't be there, Chief, just
I'll-
go ahead,
I'll
go
get-
ahead,
I'll
I
get
will
it.
not participate.
I'll get the documents that you want, but again, the lawyers have reviewed this material with the.
Are the lawyers on the board members represent Mohawk Bay Quinte, or are we the board directors? I don't know how people make well-informed decisions with no information, and I'm not being led by the nose of having someone always tell me what to do and say.
I'm okay with tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow, then, so let's have a motion to have a meeting then.
Motion.
Kelly, can you get the documents to Chris that he wants to review the agreements?
I can work with Shelley to see if we can get those. I don't know where anyone has them. I just
And I know Cecil has requested the financial statements from the corporations because they have to be consolidated into our audit. You might want to follow up with her to see, has she received the financial statements? We could, normally what they would do is just look at the financial statement because the agreements are already in place. They manage the money, they pay the loans, they give us our share of the money. It goes into the bank account in Belleville.
We'll have the agreements to you.
And I think the last time there was over $1 million in that account and the council took some out to pay the van back for the lawyer's fees and stuff like that. So there's money in Belleville. We'll need to do money, how much money's in the bank account for the corporations.
Do you like to know how much money is in the
It's
bank
been
account?
transferred to the van, to that bank account for van purposes.
Kelly,
Yeah.
I need some time to review the documents, so if you get them done tomorrow, I work for a living, I need some time, like a couple
Okay,
of
then, so
days.
we'll have the holiday board meeting.
Yeah, we'll get them to you and then whatever you need to do your business.
Okay, but one
we'll
thing
get
I
them
want to tell council is that we can't keep delaying, because if we delay our audit, we are going to miss out on opportunity to get other things where there's grant deadlines to apply for. So we gotta get on with the work that we need to do. Okay, so Jeff, that'll be fine. We'll meet tomorrow at 5 o'clock on with the Unigusta.
Sounds good.
Thank you, bye. Okay. Kelly, the other thing I'd like you to follow up, there was a question about the leasing of the land with the golf board. And is there a lease in place that's been approved by council? You'll have to check with Lisa and Amy.
And I think Shelley's trying to maybe say
Shelley?
something. Are you Shelley? Or no?
Confused. Is it golf course a guilty or not a guilty? Just a golf course.
For now, yes.
Just a golf course.
Because these things have to be dealt with in order for us to finish our audit, and I implore council to recognize how important it is for funding for the community to get this done, because right now we are in default of our obligation. Okay, so the meeting will take, motion to have the meeting tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. Secretary? Is there a seconder? Curtis?
I second it too.
Okay, is anybody opposed? And the other thing is that usually the discussion on golf board meetings and golf board business is not dealt with at during the council session. It's dealt with at the board meeting.
So they've been asking for a long time.
I know.
And it's so hard to get one set up, that's why I put it on here. That way, when you're done.
Okay. And staff have circulated corporate documents to the board. Motion that the holiday meeting will occur once the corporate documents have been circulated to the board. Or we'll just defer this.
Just defer.
We'll move for a deferral.
Yeah, I'll move that.
Chris Brandt. Who will second it?
I'll second it.
Okay, anybody opposed? Motion's carried. This is deferred. A new approach for housing submissions is, okay, Chris, you put this on the agenda? Okay, what's the issue?
You'd have to look at the email I sent everyone 11/10 on the 14th. Basically, past practice has been for a staff person to say, you pick this, this, or this for the submission, and I'm saying, well, maybe there's a plan D or another option that chief and council might want to pursue, as opposed to one person saying you pick A, B, or C. But the way it's always worked is that here's the money, well, a lot of the time, here's the money and here's your 3 picks, but deadline for submission is Friday. So you don't have time to look at other options. So I'm asking that when money is announced, we get a copy of that announcement, can typically give you a 2 months lead time, and then council with their in-house expertise can say, look at this or this, as opposed to being back in the corner saying, here, 2 days, pick A, B, or C.
Okay. So what we should do, I think, Chris, is where do we want to build? What kind of houses do we want to build in these locations that were approved? Because Tom did come to council sometime about building on Norway's Road, Upper Slash, Huron Brant Drive, developing subdivisions in Sadie's Lane, and the one on Huron Brant Drive. And I thought there was council support for all of that. Am I
Yeah, we've
correct there?
already had that discussion.
And so therefore, that gives him general direction of where you want to build, but the kind of houses that you want to build should be discussed with the council.
I
They've
think we
got
should have
plans
those
for it as
houses, let's say, to finish the subdivision in here at Sadie's Lane, should be the similar houses that have been built at Sadie's Lane. You don't want to be mixing up tiny homes with 2 and 3 bedroom homes.
They've got plans for that. They've already come to council and shown us that as well.
So the council is lobbying money from the department to develop Sadie's Lane, North Street, and Huron Brant, Northwest. To do great subdivisions there, so people have building lots, so they can buy a lot there, or if you want to put van housing there, but at least that there's some service lots to build houses on, or along the existing roads if lots are for sale. And so,
They have plans for future development as well. It's come to council already. I think the issue with this is that it appears that you're directing staff on behalf of TMC.
No, I'm asking for when the information comes addressed to chief and council, I believe it comes to chief and council, that we get a copy of it when it comes to chief and council, not 8 weeks later, 9 weeks later, and saying, here's a submission for the call out. I'm just asking moving forward. I'm not asking about designing houses, building houses today, tomorrow. Moving forward, can we simply get timely receival of the documentation that's out there for funding? I'm not micromanaging. I'm not telling the staff what to do.
Okay.
I'm just saying, can I
You
have it in
specifically
a
are
timely fashion?
requesting that of staff in this email. You are directing staff to change previous practice and bring it to TMC.
Previous TMC practice. In my last term, I sit here and I say, I would think we should look at this. And they say, oh, no. You can only pick A, B, or C. And I'm like, well, what about D? No, staff didn't present D. You don't have an option to think for yourself. You're being told you pick A, B, or C. And if D is not on the list, you can't consider it. That's what I've experienced in the past, and it seems
Okay,
like it's
so-
still in place. So that's the issue. And to debate for hours on end, to simply have timely receipt of funding announcements, if it's going to be an over-the-top issue, then forget it, chief.
Okay,
I'll
well-
retract it.
well, what I can tell you, as soon as I get notice of funding information, I send them around this within minutes after I get them
Yes, you do, chief. I
to all
agree.
accounts, and it goes to the staff as well. So they know what the fund is for. And so if there are ideas that we want to explore with the staff, you should be having those conversations early on, not waiting for council to meet. What about, can we look at maybe doing it this way? Have a conversation with them, because at the other policy that council's adopted over the years is they don't want to make decisions without a recommendation of staff. And so that's why it works that way.
Well, we've put the staff in these positions,
Yeah.
assuming that they have the knowledge. We've put them, we're trusting them. I trust the staff that we're employing know what they're bringing forward and giving us a
We
best
have-
recommendation.
We have a design on it.
That's why they're done that way. And
already
this
have a
is
number-
not- Sorry, Chief, can I just finish?
Sure, my apologies.
No, that's okay. But this is not what it's requesting, and it also very much feels out of line as you've also given up your housing portfolio. So I don't feel like
I
that's
gave up the
inappropriate.
portfolio because my recommendations or suggestions are completely ignored by people who know very little. And you shouldn't assume that everybody knows everything.
Okay,
That's a dangerous thing when you start assuming things.
But I think it's also safe to say that we can't assume that you alone know everything.
I didn't say I know. All I asked is to have a copy of the timely information. Chief has no problem sharing it. I don't know why you're so adverse to us getting timely information.
I'm adverse to
Well-
the requests that you've put in.
Well, and I'm adverse to a lot of things you do too, so.
That's fine.
Oh, hey,
I'm just telling you
let's-
what we're
just a
talking
minute.
about right now.
Just a minute. I don't want this quibbling to
Well,
go on
she
at council.
She made
This
a
is,
personal jab, I'm gonna respond.
stop. just-
It is.
oh,
It's not a
stop.
personal jab. This is what you've put on the agenda and we're
Please stop.
discussing it.
Please stop. When we're going to have a discussion here at council, there has to be a decorum of respect for each other. You don't have to agree, but at least be respectful of each other when you're talking. I think this is what's expected of you as a council meeting, as a leader of the community, and just try to do that. I know people feel passionately about their opinions. I get that, but we're still in the public eye, and we have to keep maintain our decorum here at council. So, Chris,
I'm not sure if my my next comment is or inquiry about. I can understand that, yes, we have seen the plans put forth for to finish Sadie's Lane. You know, instead of just building along the road, start finishing off subdivisions that have already been started. First and foremost, my concern really is with the tiny homes that are looking to be built. Now, I feel that we should be asking AFLDC if they would train their students on site. That we have done it here in the past with TMC, I guess. And I feel that giving those students real life training rather than training inside a building when it's cold, training inside a building when the sun is shining so they don't get heat stroke, whatever. Give them real life training so that when they do graduate and go out into the real world, that's where they're working now. So in respect that having those houses built on site will save TMC more money than building it in a garage, paying for the transportation to put it somewhere to until the job site is ready, and then transferring again, spending more money, and then we have discussed before of building them on Integra Spec foundation, which is just going to be covered up with dirt. Okay, I understand that. Slab on grade systems have worked in the past, still work today, being built much more efficient, be putting and save the band money. So basically you can build 5 tiny homes for the price of 4.
okay, this is, as I've already mentioned, this should be a discussion that we should have with the Aboriginal Labor Force Development executive staff and their people that do the training. So I would suggest that we make a motion to have a meeting with them
I motion that we do have a meeting to ask them if we could, if
to
this
talk about
could
this
be,
idea, okay?
could be done.
And they agreed that they would build them on site.
I think then if that
Okay.
is true, I think we should take them up on this.
Okay.
And because like I said, instead of wasting money,
And Chris Merkel brought up the idea of what kind of houses to be built. The council should have some say or know what's going to be built. So I agree with that as well.
and as mentioned in just just in small conversation, is that we can build very nice looking tiny homes that just aren't a 12-foot wide by 16-foot long square box, and the price difference will not matter
Okay.
that much.
So anyway, so it's been motioned to have a meeting. I still think we should have a meeting with them. So to go over what the expectations of council are and these, what they do, and have a wholesome discussion, and nobody's opinion gets left out. Chris?
I declare a conflict of interest, Chief.
Conflict of interest, okay, that's fine.
I'll motion that, chief, that we,
Okay, is
or
there-
I did already. I motion that we have a meeting
But
with them
put
and
forth your ideas, you won't be voting on it, but there's no reason why, what is it you'd like to see?
No, the optics, I agree 100% what Chris is saying, but the optics, I'm currently employed there for a month, and the optics are just, even the optics aren't good. I'm just.
Okay, then, is there a seconder for the motion? Curtis, Aaron, are you in favor? The motion is carried. But I don't want you to come in when plans are underway, then we don't like that, because throw a curve in it later on. Now is your time to have your say, what it is you'd want, what would you like to see?
Yep. We involve Tom.
And Tom should be involved.
Tom should be involved and put our heads together,
trainees.
save some money and build 5 houses to the cost of 4 that we're doing now.
The only drawback was when we had the building the house in the subdivision, they built a house, and that was the classroom on site in the subdivision, so they went there. They got their written instructions and training there, then they went out and applied it hands-on after in the afternoon. They built the bottom end of the subdivision like that, because we didn't have enough money capital to build many houses, so we had to find a way to stretch the money with labor and training and building material to get it built. And so that's how that came to be. But we need houses, and we need them urgently.
And can we,
The Sadie's Lane, the drawback of Sadie's Lane is that we also need a $6 million lagoon project for the sewage aspect of it. And so right now we're in lobby with the department to replace that lagoon because it's at life's end and it's saturated. And so we have to fix that. There's $6 million needed there. So if you're going to expand it, there's not the capacity with that lagoon system to handle it. And so that's one of the drawbacks there, but we're working on it, and we're also working on getting money for the other subdivision development.
okay.
So the new approach, Chris, what is it you'd like to see?
Oh, just to get timely information as you do all along and always have.
Yeah, so
Opposed to, here's your plan, potentially, and only days to spare for deadlines.
the problem that you have, I think maybe sometimes the council really underestimates the amount of time that the staff have with their spread over their projects, because I mean they're following up and getting estimates, they're following up with inspections, they're following up with paying bills, they're following up with looking at new applications for funding, they're troubleshooting if there's something going on with the with the rental property, because we have a very extensive amount of property now to manage, and I'm not sure really whether or not it's structured with enough staff to handle that volume of property management. And so maybe what should happen is that we should have our commercial office buildings under one portfolio and our housing units under a different portfolio. Because and of course, everything, then there's issues that crop up that have to be dealt urgently. If a basement's flooding, or if there's, the roof is leaking, or if there's tenant complaints, there's a whole raft of stuff they deal with over there. And so there needs to be processes in place for each of these kinds of issues. And right now, it just all is with the housing director and whatever staff they have there. They do the best they can, but I think sometimes they are just overwhelmed with the volume of work. And then if we have a large capital project like the large number housing or the long-term care, which is a big project, and the same happens in Todd's department. We have a big water line project that they're managing and working with the contractors and the engineers and the inspectors, all that kind of stuff, and troubleshooting, plus the day-to-day operation of capital assets. So sometimes there's a lot to deal with. And then they have tight deadlines for applications for funding. There's just there's a high volume of administrative component to it. I think sometimes it's not really understood or appreciated, the volume of work by the staff and others who are not there. It looks simple from our end, but when it gets down to there, it can be quite involved and complicated.
Absolutely.
And Chris, you should know that because you've been a housing director. But anyhow, and the other thing, sometimes the government has become more onerous in what they want than what they used to be. So it's just, there's all these changes that they have to keep current with, and standards and building codes. If there's changes there, they got to make sure we're following that. And they deal with community complaints. Sometimes they don't like where people are building, and it's just a whole raft of stuff.
That's
So
appreciated to
timely,
recognize what the staff
timely
are doing.
production of
Thank you, Chief.
reports. I'm just noting that here's an action item then, Chris, timely report, action item.
Thank you, beautiful, Chief. Thank you.
So there'll just be an action item, ensure timely reports are sent to the council prior to the,
Is it reports or that there's funding, calls for
well,
funding? and what?
sometimes, things are, because of the volume of work they have, sometimes things get hurriedly put on the agenda, and maybe the council doesn't have enough time to review it with the in depth that they'd like to. And there's an urgent deadline to meet, so there can be that can happen. Sometimes it's no fault of the staff at all. It's the short deadlines the funder imposes.
Yes.
But are we looking for the timely reports? Are we looking for calls for funding?
Well, both. So if there's projects, the notice goes out for funding, they look at to see does any things that we want to do fit that criteria? Then Tom's got to get a proposal submission ready right away. Then he's got to bring it to council for approval. And sometimes I have to send an email around to council to ask, do you support this? And sometimes I will sign it because I haven't heard back from the council, or presuming that they would want the funding. We can always say, no, we get it and send it back. But if we miss the deadline, we don't get it at all.
I guess I just want to be clear on what the action item is so I can share that with everyone.
Well,
and I'm
just
not clear.
the timely reports on any submissions. They would just like a little bit more lead time to review.
All housing funding notices that we get, council wants those sent to them immediately.
Well, I guess when they start working on submissions for funding, just send the council a note to say, I'm going to be preparing the submission. You'll have the submission for your review by such and such a date. Does that work, Chris?
Don't want to ask for Chief, but just move on.
No, no,
We've got
no,
a half hour discussing a simple request that you do just like that. Please move on, Chief. I'll get through the agenda.
Okay, I'm not clear on what kinds of reports you're looking for.
I didn't ask for reports. I asked for simply, but the fifth time, simply when there's a funding announcement, can we have a copy of it when it comes to the office? Like, it's overwhelming. A half hour later, we're talking about this.
All funding notices we get directed to council immediately.
But that's what
It's
I've been
shared
doing.
with council, not directed, shared with
Like,
council.
I don't get them all. Sometimes the staff do, but the ones that I get, I do circulate them right away.
Is that what the action item is though?
Well,
All
if that-
funding
if
notices
sometime-
get shared with council as soon as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine? Thank you.
What as Chris has already mentioned, I do circulate the ones I get
Yeah.
promptly. But some of them do come to staff.
Yep.
And the same thing with any funding agreements that there's amendments to our funding agreement, like I do circulate those to the full council as well. So they know how much money is coming in and what it's for. Okay. So the next item is the new government and potential impacts to the community. Okay, Chris, it's on, you put it on the
No, I
agenda?
just wanted to get out there, get the conversation flowing, but I understand it's circulated and we'll leave it at
Okay, so anyway, I guess some of the essential services would obviously continue, like Ontario Works would continue. There'd be money for, some degree of money for administration. We don't know if there are cuts. We don't know until the government lets us know. Or it could simply be capped. And there's no more money to keep up with inflation and pressures for pay raises and all that. So
We're not gonna know anything until
after
the
the
new government steps in and then just starts barking at what they're gonna do. So we it's just a guess. I mean, we can guess at and maybe at the worst case scenarios, but we can't really have a what a
Well,
potential impact. might be
at a
on
high
the
level,
community.
Paulie said if he gets elected, he's going to cap spending.
But will they cap it or cut it off?
Cap it, but he said he's going to make other spending priorities of the government, the military for one, Canada's defense system, more money for policing to fight street crime, immigration.
I would think that if you guys, sorry, probably shouldn't impose, but I just think that this would be a conversation that you would table to discuss, not on a YouTube, because of relationships with government. That's
Really,
just
we
my
don't,
humble
we don't
opinion.
know until it happens. And
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
we suspect it's going to happen, but we don't know the extent of it. And it could simply be your funding is capped and you have to manage within the resources that we're allocating. It could be that. We don't know. So I think we have to deal but we have cash reserves. All we have to do is be careful of our spending. And we need to get this here surplus deficit report completed. And if we can keep surpluses, then let's do that. Because there may be a rainy day in the future with the way things are in the world. So we'll just note it then, Chris.
Thank you.
And we don't know what the impact of Trump tariffs are going to be, but that'll make certainly influence government spending. The economy will be the issue. So the Bay of Quinte RAP report for 2023-24 fish and sampling plan, sharing a summary of the Bay of Quinte RAP report 2023-24 with fish consumption working group, as well as implement a fish sampling plan. It is recommended the Chief and Council approve the sharing a summary of the technical report with the fish consumption working group and provide support to proceed with the sampling plan. Does Council approve? If so, we'll need a motion.
I'll motion.
Aaron, who will second it?
I'll second, Chief.
Curtis. Is anybody opposed? There's nothing has to be signed with this, is there, Shelley? Okay, thank you. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion's carried. The next item on the agenda is the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry Lake Ontario Management Unit request to present their 2025 programs. The Ministry of Natural Resources, Forestry, Lake Ontario Management Unit requests to come to present their 2025 field programs for MBQ's consideration and ultimate approval via a letter that has been standard for the last few years and is now in seeking council to select a date for the presentation. Megan will have their program outline and draft authorization letter prepared for the signature on that day of their presentation. Please consider a date before the end of February as their program is beginning in the spring. I recommend the TMC select a date for the Lake Ontario Management Unit to come and present their 2025 field programs.
Can we put them in on one of our agendas?
The next council?
Yeah,
Okay. Is there anybody opposed to that?
or any of the ones in February if that works for them.
I'm good with 11. February 11th, that's regular.
Yep.
They probably won't be that long.
February the 11th then? Who's going to move? It's moved by Aaron as your seconder.
I'll second.
Curtis? Anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Shelley will coordinate that with Megan. The hydro extension, Brittany Curtis is constructing 656 Norway's Road. There is a 300 section of Norway's Road without access to hydro. An extension is required to extend the hydro sources comprised of a pole installation, installing primary and neutral conductor, anchors, and framing existing poles. I am recommending the authorization to cover the costs and support consistent application of existing MBQ policy regarding hydro extensions required in the road allowance to service homes, fees to be charged to minor capital. Note there still will be 150 meters on Norway's Road without hydro servicing.
Motion.
To approve,
Yes, Chief.
Chris Miracle, is there a seconder?
I'll second that, Chief.
Chris Brandt. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion's carried. There's another request here, number 14. Replace the hydro pole at 668 Highway 49. And it's recommended that council grant approval for hydro to complete the work. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Chris Brandt, is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Aaron, is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Next item. Temporary hydro connection for new North Street subdivision. Requesting approval for Hydro One to make temporary connection to as per the attached hydro layout. Nick Brinkle, the road superintendent, has reviewed it. There's no concern. It is recommended that teams to grant approval for Hydro One to complete the work. Does council approve? So we'll need a motion.
A motion, Chief.
Curtis
I'll second that, Chief.
and Chris Brandt. Is there anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Charlie, I'll take this and sign these in my house after. Harvesting request, no, not really, just after council. Harvesting application, J. Cadu. Jody Ronald Cadu has contacted Mohawk Road Quinny and is requesting permission to harvest in our area 2025. He's a returning applicant. Jody Ronald Cadu is a member of the Garden River First Nation. He's requested for permission to hunt elk, deer, duck, geese, partridge, bat, bass, walleye, perch in the Napanee and Deseronto area. He has permission on private property. A copy of his status card and copy of the PAL possession acquisition license card are attached to the briefing note. His status number is whatever it is. It is recommended that council approve to proceed with granting Jody Ronald Cadu permission to hunt in our area in 2025.
Chief, I will, I'd like to have elk removed from his application, as there are like hundreds and hundreds, thousands of deer. There are that many or more in ducks, geese, partridge, bass, walleye, perch. Yet their elk is very, 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 very scarce. So I would like to have elk stricken from
Okay.
his application, and then I would make a motion to approve that.
Okay, so then the motion will read that the council approves the request to hunt here, but with the exception of
With the
elk,
exception of elk.
I'll second that, Chief.
not to hunt elk.
Yes. Once in a while, we see elk here. We don't need somebody downing them.
Okay. Is there a second? It's
I did
moved by Chris and Curtis. Is anybody opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion's carried.
Thanks.
The harvesting request for Ed's Wine Garden. Stephen Wayne Wine Garden has contacted the Mohawk Survey Committee and requested permission to harvest in our traditional area of 2025. Stephen Wayne Garden is a member of the Upper Mohawk Six Nations of the Grand River. His request for permission to hunt deer, bear, rabbit, duck, geese, fish for bass, walleye, and perch from January 20th, 2025, December 31st, 2025 in Madoc, Moira Lake area. A copy of status card and copy of the PAL possession acquisition are attached. For a briefing note, a letter of permission, as well to the cover letter are attached for the signature of Chief Miracle.
I'll motion that, good, chief. He's is renewing an application from this last year also that we approved.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Iroquois Caucus. And 18 was moved to private, so we agreed to host the Iroquois Caucus Assembly here on April the 9th to the 10th. Prior to the IC general meeting, the development of the IC strategic plan will continue. The IC coordinator will facilitate the additional virtual meetings for IC leadership, and technicians are interested in participating. The council, who will be attending the IC General Assembly in April and who will attend the virtual strategic planning meetings. It's here, so I'm going to attend in person.
I will be here as well.
In person?
Yep.
Who's not attending in person?
Can I let you know later on,
Yeah.
chief?
So it's April the 9th to the 10th here. So Chief will attend. Aaron will attend. Curtis, you're attending?
Yes, chief.
Curtis will attend.
I want to say I'm sure Linda would like to attend as well.
Pardon me?
Linda usually attends all those.
I'll put Linda down.
Usually Ogari does too.
So we need to hear from Ogwari and Chris. I'll just put a question mark there, and then you can get back to us, Chris, you and Ogwari. So we'll just have a motion then that these are the persons attending, and that we'll just, and Chris and Ogwari will confirm.
I'll get back to you, chief.
Okay. Okay.
I'll motion that we note it.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
You know,
It's just so the coordinator can plan the meals and what's,
and I'll let you know a little closer to the date because it all depends on how busy it is at work.
okay. You'll have to find out from the technical people who's attending. And so they're doing strategic planning, so obviously the lack of water, the lack of housing would be part of our strategic plan. Settling claims would be part of our strategic plan. The funding might be part of our strategic plan. The AI governance funding. There's $50,000. A briefing note, see the attached briefing note outlining the funding received and where spent. A decision is required on how to spend the current year allocation. To use the funds this fiscal year to offset the cost of the strategic plan, reimburse salaries for work conducted in draft governance manual as directed by the CEO. Does council approve? Does that use up the full $50,000?
You're talking the surplus, chief?
No, it's the $50,000 they're saying spend it on the cost of the strategic plan, reimburse for the salaries for the work that was conducted, doing that to drafting a governance manual. And apparently the CEO directed this work.
This is the AI tobacco money. Not called tobacco money anymore. It's called government money. So this is the report that was requested. Where the money got spent.
Yeah.
So you just need to acknowledge it?
That already, that it went to that,
You have to approve it for AI purposes because they want council approval on this stuff.
okay, I'll motion,
I'll second.
because we already did it.
But we don't have a strategic plan though, correct? We don't have one.
Yeah, we, that was what we worked on with Dan Brandt.
But I thought we just got almost through the vision statement. We didn't talk goals, objectives, work plans.
Yeah, no, he has a report that's, it's in draft with us right now, will be coming to council. And then he had a booklet that I think was sent to council, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we worked on over there at, when we were at the fire hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't see the goals, the objectives, and
Yeah, it's coming.
When do you think that'll be,
When Angela comes back, we can get a date for that.
is
She's
that
been
part?
working on that, so that.
Yeah,
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 she
it's
was.
gone to the executive to be looked at in draft form, and then we'll come to council, yes.
Is that part of the first contract given to the individual to do that, or is this another
Sorry.
contract?
No, it was just the one contract for the
Yes,
strategic
those
plan.
maps, can you
Yep.
bring them in? The maps. So the next item is number 21, the Bells Road access issue. Gail Merrick would like to gain access to lot 36B17 and located on Bells Road. She's currently landlocked. Allow Gail to install a right-of-way over band-owned property on lot 36B13 in order to access her lot 36B17. Gail has stated she would be willing to pay for the survey. The right-of-way does not transfer title, however, is installed for ingress and egress only. A right-of-way agreement can be signed by MQ once the survey is completed. So this has been going on now for quite a while, but the other issue, I'd like you to come over and look over my shoulder here when I show you these maps.
Yeah.
Robert
Seems to me, if we did this, chief, that just, then that just downs us a lot for a house.
Yeah, here. So the other issue that we're having.
Wouldn't do it.
Kelly, do you want to come over here and look at this?
Do I want to?
Okay, Curtis, you should come and look at this map as
I have
well as you,
seen it,
Chris.
Pete.
No,
Well,
I need to
I
explain
haven't.
it. I need to explain this issue. Okay, with the town of Deserona, we are having discussion about placing the sewage pumping station on North Street for that North Street subdivision. I expect in time that it will get approved, but it's not going to be approved until they have it prioritized by their council. In the event that they didn't approve it, the band still owns this right away here. It goes over, so North Street's over here. It goes over, it butts up against Brian Douglas Woods land, which is he's a band member, I believe, but it butts off against some non-native property here. So if we had to continue to use that option to serve, so we'd have to build a road, we'd have to we'd have to buy land from Douglas Wood, or alternatively swing this road up here on Sharon Miracle's property, then cross John Green's property to get over to the subdivision area for the sewage pumping station. So that's the constraint that's there. And I think I marked on this map here. It's up here somewhere. Charlie, are these the same document? Here it is here. And Sharon's up here. So the road right away is down here. And Sharon's lot's up there. Gail Miracles wants crossing on the Van property. Now, did they say that was built enough to build a house on that lot?
Yes, it was.
But at some point in time, we may have to negotiate buying land from those people to service that pumping station issue. But I just wanted to let you know that we have not yet privatized any of that. It still belongs to the band.
Well, let's just defer that for now then, because we don't know. You don't know what that option's gonna be. That's just like gonna cost like how much to go up and.
Well, it would be more costly because you'd have to build a road, you have to build.
Of course it would be, but that's what I'm saying. You tell us why they're not going to.
Well, they haven't said they're not going to. They're just.
I know that, but it was the same thing, is that if we didn't give them that letter of support for that pumping station, they couldn't have got that money. So if we pull our letter of support back out of there, we're screwed.
Well, they already got the money though.
But
So that would be the default.
I can say defer.
I'll second that.
But this has nothing to do with this, what Gail's asking for. I just wanted to make sure that she didn't own some of that property, that we'd have to negotiate some of that.
I believe that was
It's
also-
Sharon and John Green
That's right.
and this Douglas Wood.
Well, not Sharon Merkel.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not Sharon
Do you
Green.
want to defer this? This is the
Yeah.
Gail Miracle request? Is there a seconder to defer?
I'll second.
Pardon me?
I'll second.
Aaron? Anybody opposed? Okay, the motion is deferred then to grant the right of way over that lot. Because we're giving up a building lot. The Ministry of Health, Child, Youth, Mental Health Funding. We have just been in receipt of the MOU for the following programs for the current and next 4 years. Indigenous Mental Health and Addiction Worker, $338,125 annually. The Indigenous Professional Development Fund, $18,473 annually. Indigenous Youth Life Promotion, $207,441 annually. The motion is to accept and approve and sign the Ministry of Health, Child, Youth, Mental Health Memorandum of Understanding. The Memorandum of Understanding is attached to your documents. That's the agreement in full. Does council approve of signing this document?
I'll motion.
Aaron? Moved, Poole seconded.
Just reading over quick.
You don't get any money without a signed agreement.
Okay, I'll second that. If that's what you're saying.
And I'm going to take out Mohawk and into him Mohawk, so the Bay of Quinte. Okay. Is there any, who seconded that motion? Chris Brandt? Okay, and is anybody opposed? Number 32.
Good, thank you.
The funding agreement for child, youth, mental health.
Thank you.
And the funding is all listed there, the full agreement is there, that's all there is for this funding agreement, is this document here, nothing else. So the full agreement's on the council agenda. And it's been approved. Document is signed. Ganyot Dawano, before and after program, policy manual. The Ganyot Dawano before and after draft program policy manual has been prepared for approval in advance of the program starting. The policies are consistent with program policies for the Dahadi Head Start and the Eska Ogonha Child Center. The policy revisions have been reviewed by the program coordinator, program assistant, and policy analysts. The Ganyot Wano before after program is not licensed by the ministry, but policies comply with the requirements as set out in the Child Care and Early Years Act and the corresponding regulations as a program standard. The recommendation is that council approve the policy manual. Does council approve the policy?
Motion.
manual? And you've been, and this is the entire
Second.
document? There's nothing else to be copied to council?
All of this, all of these, this handbook is given to every parent?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Okay, so who
They
seconded
have
that
to
motion?
print and
Curtis?
sign their agreement to the
Okay.
rules and section there.
Been moved by Chris Brandt and seconded by
No,
Curtis.
Chris Miracle,
Oh, Chris Miracle?
yeah.
Chris Miracle and Curtis Brandt to approve this policy. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Finance. Derek Wong's invoice, $9,982.16. Economic development, $11,920 economic development. And we need to find out from HydroStore if some of this HydroStore stuff is reimbursable now with paid invoices. So we'll send this over to a shear at HydroStore.
Yes.
Setting up a new account for it.
So, because we agreed that we wouldn't be paying any bad money, it would come from Hyperstore to.
Well, there's a change in the wording of the agreement. It
Yes.
has to be approved yet for council. So, but I guess these invoices have been incurred and they have to get paid. Is there a motion to pay these invoices?
I'll motion.
Aaron? Is there a seconder?
I'll second you.
Curtis?
Negative, chief.
Chris, negative. Miracle, negative. And Chris Brandt, are you in favor of paying these invoices?
I guess if Hyperstore is.
That's my understanding of what they're going, they will not reasonably withheld any expenses incurred, and there is a budget in the agreement, so we haven't spent any of it yet.
Okay, well, I'm fine with that. I just
Okay.
don't want to see any money come out of our.
So these invoices, Kelly, there has to be a letter, and these invoices have to be sent to Shahir for reimbursement.
Thanks.
The cart is a little bit ahead of the horse because we have the agreement yet to approve. The Miller Thompson invoices, these are HR issues, corporate matters. $1,120 and $16,352.50 economic development matters. Oh, pardon me. Motion to approve these invoices.
I'll motion.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second that, chief.
Negative, chief.
Negative? JFK law invoices. $5,963.10, long-term care facility. Motion to approve.
I'll motion.
I'll
Aaron,
second that, chief.
is anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried.
Motion to go into private?
Is there a second for Aaron's motion to go into private?
I'll second it, chief.
The motion is carried. And it is now 2:53.
Short break.
We can